All right, everyone, buckle up, because we are diving deep today. We're talking Japan, a fresh prime minister, and some seriously intriguing articles our listeners sent in.
Definitely intriguing, especially if you're fascinated by someone who just won't give up on a goal.
Talk about persistence. We're getting into Ishiba Shigeru, Japan's new leader, elected on his fifth try. Fifth! You heard that right, folks. We've got stacks of Japanese articles here, ready to break it all down.
And let me tell you, that kind of persistence, not super common in Japanese politics, so there's something more going on here. This wasn't just an only election.
Exactly. Imagine putting yourself out there, campaign after campaign, for years. What does it say about Ishiba? What does it say about the voters who, this time, finally said, he's our guy?
It definitely suggests a yearning for change. Other candidates, Takaichi Sana comes to mind, had their own followings. But there was something about Ishiba's, well, I guess you could call it his last stand campaign, that really resonated with people.
And maybe they were looking for someone who'd shake things up a bit because his tax plans, whoa boy.
Yeah, he's not exactly tiptoeing around sensitive issues. This is a guy talking about increasing taxes on financial gains, maybe even corporate taxes. That's a bold move, especially given Japan's recent history with this kind of thing.
Hold on, you're going to have to refresh my memory here. What happened?
Remember the Kishida shock?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Remind me.
So a few years back, the then Prime Minister Kishida, he kind of hinted at similar tax hikes. And the markets, let's just say they did not react well. Investors panicked, and the whole thing really blew up in his face.
So Ishiba is basically walking into the same minefield, hoping it won't explode this time.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Some might even call it reckless, but it also speaks to this boldness he's known for. It's been a constant in his career, even before he entered politics.
Oh, right. He had a whole life before the political arena. What was he doing?
He was actually a banker, not a typical stepping stone for a political career in Japan. And while his family did have a political background, his father was a pretty prominent figure. Ishiba's always kind of marched to his own beat.
To the point of leaving his own party for a while, right?
Exactly. He didn't agree with their direction, so he walked away. That tells you something about the guy.
It definitely suggests someone who's not afraid to stand by his principles, even if it ruffles some feathers.
Absolutely. And we see it time and time again throughout his career. Electoral reform, his stance on national security, even publicly disagreeing with former PM Abe. He's not afraid of a little friction, and that makes him a bit of a wild card.
Which, depending on your perspective, can either be exciting or terrifying. Which way is the wind blowing in Japan these days?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This is a critical time for Japan. A new leader, a bold vision, but also a whole lot that could go wrong. Will these tax reforms he's proposing breathe new life into the economy, or will they backfire spectacularly? Can he keep his party together, even with his track record of independence? These are the big questions we need to be asking.
Big questions indeed. It sounds like we're on the verge of something major.
And how Ishiba navigates these next few months would be very telling. Pay close attention to how he handles the tax issue, how he manages relationships within his own party, and his approach to foreign policy. Those are going to be the big indicators of what's to come.
It's a lot to keep in mind, but for those listening, remember this. This election wasn't just about picking a new leader. It was about choosing a direction for Japan's future. And they've put their faith in Ishiba, the one-time banker who became a maverick politician. What does that tell us about where Japan stands at this moment? About their hopes and anxieties? It's something to consider as we watch how this all unfolds.